This year, the 54th ACI World Congress has been merged with the 21st ASEAN Forex Congress, which is part of ACI since 1957. Segre, ASEAN Forex General Secretary, for introductory speech.
Distinguished speakers, ACI and ASEAN Foreign delegates, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, 6 years ago the global financial crisis tipped national economies into recession and brought to their knees some of the most well-known names in the financial industry. But the biggest casualty of the crisis could well be trust. Trust between regulators and financial institutions, trust among financial institutions, and trust from investors that their bankers are honest and their financial advisors are acting in the best interest for them. And 6 years after the crisis broke, the global industry continues to be dogged by shocking revelations of financial malfeasance, mis-selling, and dishonesty. Little wonder that global surveys show that levels of trust in the financial industry are lower than ever in countries most affected by the financial crisis and its aftermath. Levels of trust are lower still, barely 30% of the public trust their banks. Financial products and transactions can be quite complex, and information asymmetries often place financial institutions in a different position compared to their customers. Trust that the bank is sound is critical for savers to keep their monies in bank accounts and for borrowers to make long-term investment decisions. Trust that financial advisors and insurance agents are dealing fairly is important for consumers committing large portions of their savings for a long period of time. Trust that asset managers and investment brokers are acting in the client's interest and not front-running them is key to investment in the process. The licensing and regulation of financial institutions confers a degree of legitimacy on them, but being a bank, an insurance company, or a capital market intermediary is not just about holding an official stamp to collect and manage funds. There are deeper issues on trust, ethics, and financial culture in the financial industry that we need to confront. First, finance is at risk becoming more depersonalized. Long-term relationships with customers are being replaced by more transactions with counterparties only. Second, compensation structures tend to overemphasize profits as performance measures. Excessive focus on sales targets and commissions as incentivized a trading mentality, which is often associated with too much risk-taking or scant regard for client interests or the sustainability of the relationship. Third, and more fundamentally, departures from ethical conduct are too easily tolerated as the norm. Reform of the financial industry will not be complete until this issue of trust and ethics is addressed. This requires getting the culture right. And by culture, I mean the shared values, attitudes, and norms that guide our actions. Because culture develops from within a firm, it invites a certain resonance from the members of that firm in a way that will be difficult for an external imposed set of rules to achieve. For the same reason, the behavioral norms that a firm's culture and value system promotes are more amenable to internal governance and self-policy than rules that rely on external enforcement. In short, rules tell us what we can do, but values tell us what we should do. A mechanistic compliance with rules cannot be an adequate substitute for an internalized sense of responsibility and basic morality that a finance professional owes to his client or counterparty. How we can build a culture of trust and strong values in the financial industry? We need an ecosystem to do so, with the role of regulators, the industry firms, and most important is the role of our associations. Close to the international regulatory community, intensifying efforts to ensure that financial institutions foster a sound risk culture and conduct themselves in a prudent and socially responsible manner. But instituting a good risk culture is not merely about slapping on more rules. We are here in promoting a culture of ethics and financial education as well. The industry must itself take collective responsibility to promote higher ethical standards. It's better that industry develops code of conduct that take into account operational realities that they know best and that holds firms accountable to their peers. than wait for the regulator to set rules that may be impractical or too onerous. But ultimately, it's the financial institution that must be a responsibility for getting the culture right. This requires setting the right moral tone from the top. Many financial firms have issued value statements and code of conduct exposing principles, norms, and behaviors that apply universally across the firm. It's important to have such a tangible point of reference for standards of conduct, but setting the right tone requires more than lofty exhortation for good behavior. Let me conclude. The global financial industry, standing with the public, is at an inflection point. It to continue a downward spiral of mistrust with yet more egregious misconduct, or it could seize this opportunity to restore high ethical standards. Thankfully, we are in a better place. We are in Italy. We are in the European Union. The financial industry is generally well regarded and trusted, but we have not been immune to some of the egregious practices in global finance. For example, attempts to manipulate financial benchmarks and mis-selling of financial products. We must be on our guard and work to further strengthen ethical standards and culture of trust in the industry. We must foster a culture in the industry that looks beyond the question, is this legal, to the larger question, is this right? For without sounding ethics, there can be no trust. Without trust, there can be no confidence. And without confidence, there can be neither growth nor stability. We are gathered here to discuss the future of financial markets into our workshop. I reiterated that our mission is restoring a culture of trust based on strong ethical standards. This is imperative for us to securing a bright future for a purposeful financial industry into our countries and economies. Thank you and wishing you all fruitful debate. I wanted this moment to make an announcement because we received the notice that our distinguished speaker, Mr. Cottarelli, have a problem with his flight. And so will join us for the dinner dedicated to our ACI delegates this evening. In case of any more news, I will let you know, but in any case, we will distribute the presentation of Mr. Cottarelli into our website and to all delegates by email. And now, before the workshop, I'm very honored to ask a friend of ACI Forex, of World Congress of ACI International, our honorary president of ACI International, Mr. Manfred Bogani.
Buongiorno. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I became surprised yesterday, like a central bank surprised the markets a couple of days ago, to speak today. So you won't find me in the list. But I'm very honored to address a couple of words to you. I was thinking about telling you. And well, I realized 2015, and I was counting back. Well, more or less, it's nearly the age, not yet. I'm still missing 6 years to that. But ACI International is turning 60 years that year. So I think this is honor enough just to raise this point here. Italy always was a very large supporter to ACI International. I'd like to address here that we had 2 Italians on our side of ACI International who were very supportive to ACI. Together with them, we managed 2 new heads of the association, and we had, I would like to mention here, Mr. Luciano Turba. Having him as a treasurer at ACI International, we could manage to achieve the highest balance accounts of ACI we ever had. And with Claudia Segre, we managed to increase the sales of certificates on a yearly basis from 1,000 to 1,400. So Italy always used to be a quite strong supporter. They are hard workers and they have done great things. What else ACI? ACI, well, we have seen many turbulent days since 1955. In 55, the association was raised between a merger of ACI UK and the ACI France. Both are not the largest associations anymore. The largest are now Germany and Italy, Italy heading their role, so you have seen that something changed here. We got a couple of international work. We got committees like the Board of Education, and since mid of 90s we are certifying with one standard, with one language the entire world. I think this is a very good institution. It's recognized, and 1,400 exams a year. You can come back. We'll make a lot of certificates taken during that time. Also, Claudia would like to mention, she, before stepping out, she managed to reshape the exams pool to the new demands of these days, like implementing asset liability, thinking about in the future of Islamic banking, and so on here. So behind the BUE, there's a large team of members all over the world. We also got a CFP, Committee for Professionalism. They just recently reshaped also the model code, which is, I would say, quite important in these days. Our banking industry was blamed enough on some accusations here, LIBOR scandal, fixing scandals and so on. And the more, I think, we have to look for endorsement of this model code to bring it up to awareness to authorities and probably to get it as an official standard all over the world. We also have FX committees, we have money market and liquidity group, we were founding members of the Euribor. This probably is already forgotten, but I think we can be very proud of these achievements. Unluckily, the Euribor now moved a little bit away of ACI. We could not take any profit of that anymore. But okay, things are moving on. Not to speak too long, but let me just point out one thing which makes me very sad. The banking industry, and most of us, well, we are still working in the banking industry, was punished a lot over the past years, justified or not justified. Of course, in some respects, we also have maybe seen some misbehavior, but again, our members, we are sticking to the model code, we are acting to them, and I also have to say, during the most trickiest time of the crisis, I think our well-educated people helped to survive these crises. We are blamed nearly every week on a monthly basis, maybe on a daily basis. And I strongly believe that has to stop now. We are bankers. We are doing, I think, a great job. We have to transport that. We have to show proudness. We have to work here together with the banking associations here. And maybe in public, we have to correct in some way the image of our banking industry. I'm really angry. And I'm just coming back to that what we have seen a couple of days ago, that one central bank really made market disturbances. Just 3 days before that, they made public statements, everything is okay, nothing will change and so on here. If anyone of our banks would have behaved like that, I think this bank would have been in trouble. There would be claims of billions of US dollars from US lawyers or from the European Union and so on here. And that makes me very sad. And the next countries, in my country, where I'm coming from Austria, and maybe also in some neighboring countries, it's going one step further on that. There are a lot of Swiss loans. Even people relied on that and made IPOs, issued bonds in Swiss francs on here. But Swiss loan takers, retail loan takers, they link the loan to stop losses. Even probably people do not understand anymore what the stop loss means here. People were stopped out. Of course, it costed a lot of money these days, but I think a central bank should be aware whenever they are announcing what that is meaning. And now together with the Consumer Protection Austria and with the Banking Association, these stop losses shall become backdated. That means the banks have to take the loss, again the banks. It's always we. Yeah? And this concerns me very much in these days. Sorry to be that angry, but I think we have to stop here now. We have to cooperate with authorities. We have to cooperate with banking associations. We can be proud of that what we are doing. And we should not let us punish all the time. Okay, thank you. I do not want to make it too long. And I wish you a great success.